Bye. So it's been a while. I made a post somewhere around the end of January that I was thinking about taking the month of February off. Yeah, we're now at the end of March. I think the best thing that I can do is to just chronologically take you through all of it. And just to preface, this is going to be a long video. It's going to be all over the place. I'm going to be jumping around. And this is going to touch on mental health. So if you are not in the position or in the brain space where you can handle people talking about mental health, it's fine. Just move along. It's fine. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not making this to make excuses or to explain where I've been. Yes, I do. I am, but I'm also making this for me, if that makes sense. Because I kind of want to document what the hell happened, because it had an influence on my channel. So this is part of our channel journey, and I just wanted to put it on film. I've tried to record this 3 times by now, by the way, just to let you guys know, but let's take us back. Let's take us back. When I made that post, I think it was made very obvious to a lot of you. If you've been in sprints, if you've watched some of my videos, it has been abundantly clear that my job is at times very challenging for me. I love my job. I'm very good at my job. Not to toot my own horn, but that is just facts. That is just what it is. But I also remember that by around August of last year, I told one of my coworkers, I don't know what the hell is going on. Am I gearing towards burnout? I don't know. I feel off. I feel something's off. And fast forward, it is January, and a situation occurred at my job that was very stressful, high stress. I think one of the most stressful periods of time we've ever been through as a team. And by that, I don't just mean my coworkers, but I mean the kids as well. And it was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, in a way, for me at that point in time. Because as I said, I was starting to run on empty, or I was running on empty, since August of last year. And we were now January, and in between that period of time, I kept waiting for it to slow down so I could take a breath and so I could recharge. And it never came. I mean, I think anybody who has any experience with kids knows that they have their own agenda and they do not care about yours. So, I mean, what the hell was I thinking? I really thought that I was going to be able to get through it. But then a weekend hit in January when I made that post, actually, where the only thing that I was doing was crying. I was crying nonstop, and I was really worrying my parents and my friends, and they were like, what is happening? So my mom basically told me, we were on the phone, and she was like, you're gonna hang up and you're gonna make an appointment at the doctor's, because this is not normal. This is not normal. You need to talk to somebody. So that is what I did. And since then, I have basically been away from work for the past 2 months. Now, no one was as surprised as me when that, not diagnosis, but when that came to fruition. I thought, great. I have time now. I'm gonna read books. I'm gonna have time to make videos because they're fun. And, it's gonna be great. It wasn't. Turns out when you have time off, Um, your brain just kind of goes with what it knows, and what it knew at that point was just to go on autopilot and to just not think. I don't know how else to describe it, just to not think. So instead of my brain having to just go through the motions of going to work and doing my stuff there and then coming home and then having dinner and all of the things, now I had all of this time. And instead of my brain going, okay, let's take time, let's reflect, let's think about all of the things, my brain just went, nope, we're just gonna do something that keeps our brain occupied and make sure that our life keeps running. Like, we're gonna go grocery shopping, we're gonna brush our teeth, we're gonna take showers, we're gonna make sure our cat's okay. Which, I mean, I'm glad that I was even able to do that. There have been other times in my life when I've been depressed where that has been not the case. And making dinner is very difficult when you have like 2 things in your fridge. I wasn't depressed. Like, I knew that. I'm not depressed, so I didn't really know what bag of tricks to dip into, so I just went through the motions. Which meant that the first 3 weeks, I think, I slept for like 11, 12 hours, woke up, stared at as many screens as I could to stop my brain from thinking about anything, went to sleep, and repeated. And that is not healthy. I did try and go outside, like when I went to the grocery store, I did try and go for a walk, still having something in my ears happening, because, we don't want anything happening over there in the brain. So, yeah, now looking back at it, I can see that was really just my brain and my body trying to get back to baseline, to even be able to touch all of it. So one night I was watching Bridgerton season 4. Amazing, by the way. I think it's my favorite one yet. But in the middle of that, very rude, one of my coworkers sent a very nice voice note. And, well, yes, it was very nice, but it wasn't anything different than what she'd texted me before. But I think because it was a voice note and I could hear their voice, it was something different. Or I just finally had the brain space to take it in, where they basically gave me permission to stay at home for as long as I wanted, or, and this was the kicker, to not come back at all. And that was such a weird experience, to have permission to do whatever. And that was kind of the thing that broke everything else, and that made me just break down. It was sobbing, crying, ugly crying, not pretty crying, ugly crying, just, it was all of the things. It was sitting on the floor, it was tissues everywhere, it was not pretty, it was not fun, it was not nice, but it was necessary. It was necessary for my body to make room for anything else. And it was a night where it's very personal at this point, but some other thing happened. I don't know what it was. Is it the universe? Is it whatever else you want to call it? I don't know. But it felt very, for a lack of another word, spiritual. And if you know me, you might know me, I'm a bit of a woo-woo. I like the woo-woo, but I never really followed it. And that day I followed it. That night, after that night, I basically started building again. I just started slowly getting back to myself. And I also knew, and it was also doctor's orders, that it was time to figure some stuff out. And if I looked at it logically and objectively, my job was not good for me. I love my job, I'm very good at my job, but my job was not good to me. That's not to say that all of my coworkers are amazing and it's a job that a lot of people, when I tell them what I do, the first thing that they say is like, oh, you really need to be made for that job. And yes, you do. And the thing is, when you grow up and when you start to really understand yourself, you have to realize certain things, even though they're very hard to. And one of the things that I realized, especially with the fact that my work fell away, was that I felt like for the past 7-8 years while I was doing this job, I was sort of keeping my life on hold. Because of the way my brain works, it was very difficult for me being in a job that had no schedule. Like none. Yes, you have the set hours of shifts that when shifts happen, but every week was different. Every week was different, and we only had our schedule for like the next month, 2 months. So that meant that planning in the future also felt very difficult for me because I am a person who likes structure. And I know what you're thinking. Why the hell did you do that job? Well, because I just wanted to. It just came to a point where I had to actually say to myself, yes, you're good at it. Yes, you really, really love what you do. But it's not loving you back. It's not loving you back. And keeping that job going would mean me having to do a disservice to myself. So that meant that there was only one way forward, which means that I know that I've said it in previous sprints and in videos and like joking about, I need a new job. Like, I want a new job. I need a 9 to 5, all of the things. And I was always joking about it because if I took it seriously, it meant that there was a lot of change that was going to need to happen and a lot of goodbyes that were going to need to be said that I wasn't ready for. I just really had to sit with the realization that I was going to leave. I think the fact that I joked about it for like months meant it was kind of a way of my brain to slowly kind of inch me toward preparing me for that decision. And because I was home for 2 months, I finally had the brain space to actually accept it and take it in and to actually look at it objectively and not be like a martyr or like have a hero complex of any kind. Because if you look at it objectively, having someone who works there who, again, good at their job, but has to take a breather every few months or every few years or whatever because the job eats away at them, I knew that it was not going to be sustainable. And the last thing I want is for me to start resenting the job that I have because it takes too much. And I know that that was not going to be fair to me, to my coworkers, and least of all to the kids that I work with, because they deserve someone who's steady and who knows what they're doing and who doesn't have to check out every couple of weeks and months, which I can already hear some of you say, but that's normal. You know, people need a break sometimes. And yes, that is it. And yes, that is normal. But then taking in everything else and taking in the thing that the job and the hours that the job is, like the schedule, it's not going to change. It's not going to change for me. It's not going to do that. It's just, it is what it is. And realizing that that no longer fits me, it's hard, but right now I can accept it. And which means that the future is very different now. Now, I told you that I was breaking down and also asking, like, the universe, what the hell do I do? Like, help me, save me, whatever. Like I mentioned, think something else was going on there, because somewhere in the middle of March, I stumbled upon a job opening somewhere else, obviously. And if you told me that I was gonna look at that job and get excited and curious about it, I would have thought you were insane. But here we are. At this current moment, I am waiting to hear back. I obviously applied to that job, which would be a 9-to-5 job. And I am waiting for the last okay. They have basically told me that I can start. The only thing we are now figuring out is pay. That's the only thing that's still up in the air. So if you're seeing this, it means that I have accepted and that I will be changing jobs, which is insanity to say. I don't know who or what was in charge during these past 2 months, but I truly do believe that things happen when they are supposed to happen. And I really do believe, because I did have job interviews previous to this, I do believe that I wasn't ready before. I wasn't ready to leave. I wasn't ready to make the jump. And ever since going on that job interview and all the interviews after, yes, there has been excitement, which is good, because that means that I actually want this job and I'm not just taking it just to get out of the situation that I'm currently in. But what was the point? What was I saying? I told you my brain is all over the place. This job is, the way that it's looking now, is gonna be really good for me and my brain and what I need. And that doesn't mean that there's still 100 question marks about whether or not I'm gonna be good at it, if I'm gonna like it, if the company that I'm gonna go work for is gonna be my cup of tea. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm confident in the fact that I can do this job, this new job, well. And it's gonna take some time to adjust, but I'm pretty confident in the fact that it's gonna work out and that it will be fine. That does mean that I have to leave the old one. And the way that it's looking, it's gonna take about 3 months, because that's the way that it works over here. If you work somewhere for a certain amount of time, the amount of time you need to give them to find a replacement for you gets longer. So I've worked there for 7-8 years, so I'm basically at around the max time that it is to like have a notice, which means that I'm gonna have to probably stay for another 3 months, which would mean to around June, and then I will be able to make the switch. And also, I'm gonna need time to say goodbye, and to say goodbye to my coworkers, to say goodbye to the kids, and to just be able to leave it in a place where I'm good, because obviously there's a lot of practical things that I also want to round out and like finish off. So it's not been easy. Even though it's something that I know is going to be good for me and I know is going to be good in the long haul, that doesn't mean that I haven't had a pit in my stomach for the past 2 weeks. I've felt excitement. I have felt all of the good things when going through with all of these and going ahead with all of these interviews. But the realization that I'm gonna have to say goodbye is now really settling in, and it's not easy. Which also means that I don't know what is gonna happen here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to have the energy or the bandwidth to upload a video every week. And what I do really want to focus on is the sprints, because I do enjoy spending time with all of you and I do enjoy having a chat. And I kind of want to keep you guys up to date on what the hell is happening. Right now, I have nothing to tell you when it comes to books because I have not had any of the energy to read anything. I think I've read 4 books this year, and that is it. I'm hoping that changes. I've been getting back into reading, which has been good and nice, and just giving me a sign that I'm doing better. Now, one thing is that in April we do have Aurelium, and Aurelium has had in history been one of the readathons that have really inspired me to get back to reading and to just get into it. So I'm hoping that it will do the same this year. And I'm actually really excited about it. I have printed out, you can see it in the background there. My journals are there. I'm setting them up. I'm just waiting for new ink cartridges because I want to print stuff out. I don't know if this video makes sense in any way, but if we're gonna summarize it at the end of all of this babbling, it basically means that I was not okay. I was not okay at the beginning of February at all. I'm starting to be okay. It means that my normal is gonna change drastically, hopefully, in the next couple of months, and that I'm hoping that you guys will give me grace to figure that new normal out and where all of this fits in, because it's gonna take some time for your girl to figure it out. Because I am, on one hand, very excited to get to a normal 9 to 5 and to do all of that. In the meantime, I also know the time between now and the time between then is gonna be very emotionally turbulent. Is that a way to phrase it? Because yes, I will be going back to work knowing that I'm gonna leave it, which is gonna be odd. I can already tell that that last month and those last couple of weeks are gonna be hard. Telling my kids, some of which I've been helping raise for the past 7 years, that I'm gonna be leaving is gonna be a gut punch to me and to them. I'm not even, that's not even a joke. That's what it's gonna be like because I've seen it. The fact that I don't know even if I mentioned it, maybe it's one of the other recordings that I made, I don't know. But the fact that me working there for 7-8 years and me being one of the only 2 members that are left over from the original team that I started with should tell you about how challenging this job is. If I was gonna wait until the moment where I didn't love my kids, or the kids that I take care of, my kids. If I was gonna wait until the moment where I didn't love my kids, there was no way in hell I was ever gonna be able to leave. Because if you don't love the kids that you're working with, you don't do this job. This job is not sustainable for 7-8 years. And the last thing I want is for this job to become, at points, so heavy that I start to resent it and not want to do it. And I am at a point now where if I go now, it is because I can objectively say that it is not good for me. Doesn't mean I'm not good at it. Doesn't mean that I cannot in some way, shape, or form make it work. But making it work would also mean shoving myself in a situation that will make me not okay in the long haul. So it has been a real challenge to do this and to choose me. As you probably noticed, it is not a decision that I made lightly, that I made easily at all. But it was necessary, and I could not. Literally, my body and my brain made it so that I could no longer ignore it. And that I could no longer make a joke about it. And it just, I couldn't say the same thing 500 different ways. But that is just the gist of it. So, a lot of things are going to change. I am still very devoted to keeping up with the read-alongs. Obviously, both Paula and myself have taken a break from the Percy Jackson read-along because we were supposed to start Hero of Olympus in the Hero of Olympus series in February. That didn't happen. I am talking with Paula and we're figuring it out, but I still really want to continue it. So that is not, it's not like we're not doing it, but that is happening. Then obviously we still have the Throne of Glass read along, and now with the coming of ACOTAR 6 and 7, yes, we're keeping that one going. I'm making a lot of notes now that I have the energy to read again. Do I still need to start Assassin's Blade? Yes, I do. We'll catch up. You know, it's fine. It's fine. I need to be able to be finishing Kingdom of Ash in August. That's the gist of it. But, yeah. Lots of changes. They're not going to be easy. So I'm just asking you to bear with me in this season of change. I am not, don't mistake this, but I am actually very excited about the change that is coming. It feels like a really good step in the right direction for my mental health, for my physical health, to be able to have a set schedule, to be able to hopefully get hobbies outside of just this and reading, and just hobbies outside of my house. I'll just say that. Being able to have a little bit more of a structure and talk, have plans with friends and go out and not be scared about getting a phone call and having to fill in for someone else last minute. Not being exhausted from having night shift. Yes, I'm sure I'm still going to be exhausted at times, but yeah, it's going to be different. I will take you along with me on this journey. So there might be a few different kinds of videos that are going to be coming. But yeah, it had to happen. I'm glad that it is. It's gonna, like I mentioned, it's gonna be good for me in the long haul, but it's gonna hurt like hell over the next couple of months. So just bear with me. I'm sure I'm gonna get emotional more, but here we are. And I hope that I will be able to talk to you soon, and that I will be able to give you guys some more clarity about what the hell we're doing on this channel. Because I want to get back to this. Because I like you guys, and I want to talk to you. So, I like talking. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. But with that, we're gonna end this video. I'm not gonna tell you to comment an emoji. It's not that kind of video. Just thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around till the end. Thanks for sticking around with me while I was basically gone for the past 2 months. And I hope I can get back to you guys and get back to a more regularly scheduled programming. But yeah. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye.